Welcome to Lifted, a podcast where we talk about all things health and fitness for busy working mums and women who are trying to navigate their way around parenting, work, and relationships whilst wanting to prioritize their own fitness and body goals. We'll explore ways to help you achieve and maintain a lean, strong, and sexy physique that is essential for helping you carry out your day-to-day tasks without burnout. We'll talk about relationships, self-love, and even dive into the mindset side to help you shift your perception, change your paradigm from one of inability or lack of to one of pure abundance and endless possibilities to enable you live your best, healthy, and fit life, being the best version of you that you can be. I'll share my journey as a bodybuilder and talk about everything it's given me in terms of achieving a strong mindset and a will that's totally unbreakable. I am your host, Carol West, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to today's episode. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of Lifted. We're back on here recording this, and we are going to cover quite a few things today. First on the list, I'm thinking about carrying on from my last episode, which was really to help you get to know more about me or get to know the person behind the name, really introduce myself to you and what I'm about. So I feel like it's apt for me to carry that through and just go a bit more into my journey really in terms of what I've managed to do and where I'm at the moment. So I'm just going to go back into the prep side of things and just talk about that in a bit more detail, because I feel like I didn't really cover it that well or that much from the previous one. So getting into that second phase of my competitive season, which is after qualifying for the finals, I then went on to a bit of a surplus food-wise, so the food got put up a bit more just to give my body a bit of a break, because it was such a long wait from when I qualified back in May, and the finals weren't till October. Now, for those who don't know anything about bodybuilding, the body's condition to stay that lean is only meant to be held for a certain period of time. It's not really, you don't really want to hold that condition for a very long time. It's not healthy for you. Basically, it's the whole bodybuilding thing is not really, I wouldn't describe it as something healthy, because you're pushing your body to do something that it's not happy doing and it's not comfortable doing, and you're really pushing it to the limit. So you want to stay in that phase for the least amount possible really before you come out of it. Now, my coach and I decided to do a few shows, because I just wanted to do like one or two, and I didn't realize at the time that I would qualify for anything anyway. So when I did qualify, the next qualifier was the PCA Universe. So I did not have that on my plan when I signed up to do the competition. So we thought, well, we'll just go with it anyway, and see. It's more practice for me to go on stage and to get used to the being on the stage and presenting myself on stage. So the stage presence did count for quite a lot in terms of trying to get that confidence up when you're showcasing yourself in front of the judges, because I don't know, it's really scary, I will say that, and it's really, you can easily get intimidated if it's your first time, because you don't know what to expect, and B, you're a ball of nerves when you're walking into that sort of environment. Now, bearing in mind, I did not go for the first time, as I got thrown into the deep end with the more experienced athletes who've been doing it years. So yes, it was quite daunting for me, but we managed to push through that, and even though I was still like really nervy and a bit anxious as well, because my strong point isn't really public speaking or even standing in front of people, and it's not something that I haven't done. It's not something that I've done up until I qualified as a PT, and obviously there's things like the classes that you have to do, so you really have to be in front of people a lot of the time, and I think that did help. It did come a long way in helping me gain that confidence to be able to stand in front of people. But the only difference is I did have my clothes on, so that makes a massive difference. It's literally like you're bearing all to be judged. So again, before you get into wanting to compete, or if you're thinking about it, these are small things that you might not necessarily factor in when you're thinking of, oh yeah, it looks like something fun, it's all the makeup and it's all the glitz and it's all, you're being pampered and you've got eyelashes on, and it's that side is fun, don't get me wrong. It's a nice thing for somebody to actually be able to take care of you. When you've gone through such a long time just doing your own thing, and looking really not your very best, because you get to a point in prep where you don't actually have the energy to even pick anything off the floor. If it falls down, you're just like, you know what, you're just gonna stay down there because I can't really even pick you up. So yeah, when you get to that point at the back end of prep, and you're looking to go on to stage now, and you're ready to go on stage, it's nice just to have somebody pamper you and make you feel and look nice. So we decided, okay, well, we can't really keep the body in this condition from May till October, so we're gonna have to push the food up a bit just to give the body a break. But what you don't want to do is to give it too much of a break, and then you start accumulating fat, because you're gonna struggle to get rid of that, and you might not be stage ready, because there is lean and then there's stage lean. So there's a reason why it's called stage lean, and there's things that the judges are looking for, and one of them is condition. Now, the condition of the body is based on the different federations have got different criteria for what they're looking for. So you'll find that some federations are looking for a more peeled look, because that's what they call it. It's you come in real lean, while some federations go for a more fuller look, and not skinny, but not so conditioned. You don't. Some federations are okay. You can hold a bit more fullness compared to others. So you have to again think of these types of things, what federations you want to compete with. You look at their criteria, what they're looking for, and then you can decide which federation fits you best in terms of what sort of a condition or what body type you are, and what you look like at the end of your prep. And sometimes it's very hard. You might decide you want to do a certain federation and to do a certain show, and then as the time goes, you'll find that you actually don't fit the criteria for that fed that you're wanting to compete in. So it's absolutely okay to just leave it sometimes till almost the back end before you decide what shows you want to be doing. But then again, this is why it's important to actually have a good coach, because this is something that you'll talk through with her or him, and they'll guide you through it, so you know exactly what the judges are looking for, and what each federation is looking for, and what they want to see when you step on that stage. What you want to do is just to think of it as you bringing your best, the best you've ever been, the best you feel like you can be on that stage, and being confident that you're happy with what look you've brought. There's nothing worse than getting to that point and feeling like you're not good enough. And don't get me wrong, you will feel like that, because not having enough food in your system messes with your head. I can't tell you the amount of athletes I've spoken to, and we're all the same. It's like you get to a point where you look at yourself and you think like, oh my God, I'm holding water here and this looks like it's hanging in the wrong way and I'm not lean enough. And for somebody else who's looking at you, they'll be thinking like, you look like you're dying. I don't know what you're on about. But yeah, it is quite hard on the mind. Sometimes you just don't see it. And because especially during the depletion stage, which is where your carbs get dropped, so you have very minimal carbs and you literally just have to grind through, still training, still doing everything that you need to do to keep and maintain that muscle, so you're not losing any mass. So it is a grind and it's hard, but it's being done, so it's not impossible. Obviously, some people do it better than other people, but I think and I believe at the end of the day, it's down to the type of coach you have and the protocol they use. If it's something that suits you as an individual and for your body, you need a good coach to guide you through this sort of things. So then the back end of prep, as I said, it is a hard time because your mind is completely gone, your energy is zero, and some days you can't even get out of bed. The worst thing is you're that tired, but your body won't actually sleep. So you'll find that sometimes you need things like sleeping aids to help you have a good quality sleep, because essentially you want to rely on sleep as much as possible, because that's where you get the condition. If you're not sleeping, it's not great. It's not great at all. Your body won't respond as it should be. So sleep is really important when you're at that back end of prep. And unfortunately, because of what it is that you're doing to the body, it's not in its natural state anyway. So you're never going to get like a good night's sleep. And I mean, you might find some athletes, they sleep fine. They haven't got an issue with sleep, but not everyone will have that luxury. And I mean, like for me personally, I found that my body clock changed, so I was waking up earlier than I've ever woken up. Like I've always had like a good solid 6 hours sleep, but then again, I say 6 hours sleep, it's with toilet breaks in between. Because of the amount of water you're drinking, you'll never go a full night without needing to wake up to go for a wee. So it is, I wouldn't say disturbed, but it's not like all in one. But yeah, I would say a good 6 hours on and off. But then it just means like when it gets to like sometimes 4:30, I used to wake up and I could not go back to sleep. But yeah, it's just one of those things that you have to, it comes with the whole sport. There's a lot that can go into to describe every feeling and every emotion, but I don't think I want to completely go into that much. And maybe I'll just drip feed it as we go through the various episodes that we do. But really what I want to put across to anybody who's thinking about competing and getting into this sport is the fact that it's not just about getting shredded, I feel like a lot of people sometimes want that because it's a look that they like and it's all very aesthetic. And that can mess with your head, I feel, because you also have to bear in mind the time will come where you'll step on stage and it will be done, like so quick. And then you have to deal with the emotions that come when you have to start putting that weight back on. So again, this is where it's very important for a coach to be able to navigate through these emotions in this period after show, and make sure that any client that the coach gets hasn't got any eating disorders or issues like that, because it will only completely make it worse if you go into this sport. If you've already got an eating disorder, I wouldn't recommend it, because it's hard as it is, even for somebody who hasn't got an eating disorder. And sometimes it might flip. You might not have an eating disorder, but you might find that as you've gone through your prep and you've gone on to stage and you've done your shows and you've come out the other side, you then don't understand what's happening to your body and how the hormones are reacting to the reverse. and you have got no control over your hunger hormones because your body has been in depletion for so long, and in a calorie deficit for so long. And then it's like when you open the gates and you start eating, you just don't want to stop. It can be a scary place, and it was for me, in all honesty. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything and say like I got away with it. I went through that phase. So after my qualifying shows, and I had listened to podcasts about it and I'd read up on it and all that, but nothing prepares you for it. Like, honestly, nothing. Just you don't, you feel like you've got such a strong mind and that you won't be, you won't be taken under by it, but you can never know how you react to post show and the food side of things. So for me, after those first shows, and when I knew I'd done the last one, that it's like your brain switches, because I was all right after the first show. I did the first show, and then I think there was a week in between, and then there was 2 weeks in between the second and the third show, and then there's a week between the third show and the fourth show. Now that 2-week break absolutely killed me off. It absolutely killed me off. It was really, really hard. That was actually the hardest part for me. But then you're still switched on. Your head is still switched on. You're still in the game. You still want to see it through. So you kind of can't, even though you're allowed like a cheat meal after the show, because you burn through so much. You're operating on adrenaline, and you've eaten next to nothing on show day. Because you want to maintain that condition. You don't want to blow out, and you don't want to hold too much water. So everything gets manipulated food-wise so that you look just right when you go on stage. Again, because sometimes you're waiting so long, you'll have gone through the whole day with very little to eat and drink. So your body is really depleted. So when you get the food in, it's like, whoa, your body sometimes doesn't know what to do with it. But I think a lot of it is it's a mind sort of thing. Once you allow your mind to switch off, then you can just binge. You really can just go to town with the food. But I think because I still had shows to do, I was okay. In between shows, I just ate what I was asked to eat, and I stuck to those. But then when it came to the last show, I think it's that far back now, and my head was a bit all over the place. But yeah, on that last show, I think when I knew that I was finally free to eat, like I didn't know how to stop eating. I think I ate an obscene amount of food, and my family was a bit in shock when they were looking at me thinking like, oh my God, you're still going? You're still eating? And yeah, but I think that went on for like a couple of days, maybe 3. And then I had to speak to my coach, obviously, and say like, will you send a plan through, because I need to get back to sort of, I need to get my head back in, because I feel like it's running away with me a bit. So yeah, so once I got, again, it's a mind switch thing. As soon as I got my plan through again, I was okay, and I just stuck to what I was asked to eat and what I was asked to do. I got back into training, and off we went on a reverse. So push the food high up again, to try and in that instance, you're not really going to gain that much muscle in that short space of time. But I feel like I really went hard with my training, and I really dug deep for when I was still on a surplus. So I did make use of that food, and I made use of it really well, I feel, because the body we brought onto stage for the final shows is completely different to how I looked. And I was much more conditioned. I was at my lowest weight. Can't remember how long ago I was that weight. So yeah, for the last shows, my stage weight was about 58 kilos, which I think is a long time since I was that weight. But yeah, I feel like we brought a really good look to stage, and I was really happy with how things went. So yeah, just going through again talking about the emotions that you go through once you finish your competitive season, and once all the applause and all the well done, and you've done great, you look amazing, blah blah, and then you start eating, and all of a sudden you've got bloated and your six pack's gone, and you look at yourself and you almost want to cry, because it's like the difference in how quick your body changes is just incredible. If you think about the amount of time it actually takes you to get to that condition, and yet it can just go like in a few days, but really, it's not fat. That's the thing that you have to remember. It's just because your body's not had that much calories in for a long time, and you're consuming all these things that your body probably hasn't been used to, especially sugar, because all of a sudden now I've got a sweet tooth. Never had a sweet tooth in my life. I'm more of a savory person, so that's the other thing that bodybuilding did. Now these days it's just like I can eat sweet things for days on end. Not that I do, because obviously with that, the disciplined mind, you get to a point where you feel like, okay, well, I've had enough. Once that bit at the beginning of wanting to eat everything goes, then you can't actually switch back on and just get back onto it. But again, you cannot do it on your own, if especially you've not got a strong mindset, and if you haven't got that support to help you get back to things, so that things are not running away with you. Because don't forget, in that time you're very very emotional as well, and you can actually have post-show blues. So when all the well dones are gone, and nobody's noticing you anymore, you're not that shredded person that stands out when you're training in the gym, when you're just blending in with everyone else. It can be very hard on the mind, and for a lot of girls it can actually make you a bit depressed, or feel like you've lost your way a bit. So really, it's very important at this point, especially, to have those honest conversations with your coach. Sit down with them if you can, whether it's a Zoom call or you meet them in person, and share your feelings and emotions, everything, because you will need them to hold your hand through that phase. In fact, I feel, and this is something that a lot of athletes have said also, post-show can be much harder than the actual prep, because with the prep you're so focused, you're so zoned in, you've got your list of things to do on a day-to-day basis, you're ticking your boxes as you go along, even though you haven't got any energy, but you've got that strong, your mind is so switched on, because you've got a goal to reach. So it's not too bad when you're in prep, because you've got a focus, and you've got a goal. So when that goal, you've reached that goal and it's out of the way, and unfortunately or fortunately with bodybuilding, the goal always involves a lot of nice things when you get to it. So you get all the praise, you get all the photos, you get all the accolade, people tell you how great you look, and you go through every emotion. Like it's a real high when you come off stage, to be honest. Well, I found that you live on that high for a few days, or I do at least maybe that first week. You're just on that high still, you're riding on it, and then when you come down from it, when the bloat has really set in, and you're looking at yourself, feeling really sorry for yourself, and thinking like, right, okay, now what? It can be very hard to take, and it can be a challenge to navigate your feelings around this time. So what I would advise anyone who's doing a show, thinking of doing a show, or are in the process of prepping to stand on stage, is you have to also, if you can't have this put in place with your coach, just for yourself, you need to have a plan of action for when you finish your competition, especially if it's say it's the end of your season and you're not going, maybe if it's not just the qualifiers and you're going again, if it's the end of your season for that year, you really need a plan in place to help you regain that focus for something else. It's not a distraction. It won't take away the fact that you probably will feel a bit flat some days, and you will probably feel a bit lost some days, but I think it's important to have a plan in place. So you may book for a holiday like a week after show, or you can have something else to target. So when your body is recovered and you've got your energy back, you can set yourself some targets of, okay, right now, can I get a new training plan from my coach? Say, for example, I need to start working up again, and smashing my PBs, stuff like that. Or it can be something personal for you. Maybe if you can start a different project, something for you to focus on and get your head down and still be able to draw from that strong mindset that you had when you're in prep, and that focus, you can still tap into it, and it will just help you manage the post-show a bit better than you would if you just didn't have anything to look forward to, because it can be really hard going. Because as I say, you do get to a point where you feel like, I've lost myself, I don't know what I'm doing, and I really don't know what to do with myself now. And also because it takes a while, especially for the ladies, for your hormones to balance back into normal. So you'll find you'll probably miss, not everyone does, but for most, you will miss a period. So you'll miss one cycle or maybe two. So before the body gets back to normality and you get your cycle back and things begin working as they should do, there is quite a lot of up and down emotion-wise, and it's just your hormones settling. So it will be a while before you actually feel a bit good about yourself again. But as I say, it is very important for you to actually find something to focus on, something to get your head down and do. And it doesn't have to be something big. It can be something just for you. You start your own small project and work on it. But ultimately, you have to have some sort of support and not just go through with it. Family is also very important in these times, because how you are when you're in prep means that you can't actually be present and you can't be your normal self with the rest of your family. So again, that support is really important before you choose to do this as a sport, because you'll get to a point where everything just annoys you and everything everyone says is just, it feels like a nonsense and you don't want to deal with it. And it's really hard if you cannot find somebody to support you through it. For partners, it's very hard going as well, because they don't know what to do with themselves in those instances, and sometimes they feel like they're trying the best they could and you're just there like, you don't really, you haven't got the energy, you just want to be left alone basically. And it's hard going for family as well. So a good support network is important. So if you have that, you're already winning on that front. But ultimately, you also have to think of not making up, but giving them the time that they missed out on whilst you're on prep. So you want to think about after show, how you're going to be a bit more inclusive with them again, because you do find that you go into yourself a lot. Well, I did. I'm not saying everyone will, but yeah, because you just have to zone in for you to be able to do all the tasks that you're supposed to do and still have your normal life. It's not like everything else has been put to the side and you're just doing that. Well, some people are lucky enough to be able to do that, but I wasn't. I still was having to function and work and do all that. But as I say, because the mind is so strong at that point, you will do it, and you'll get it through. But the impact of it is that sometimes it does affect relationships, sometimes it does affect family, sometimes the family starts worrying about you and that you don't look well, especially if it's extended family. So if you find like grandma comes in and says, oh, I'm not sure that you're well, love, you might want to consider what you're doing because you're not looking great. And you'll be there thinking like, I need to lose more water weight, mate. This is not looking good. And you're convinced that you're actually holding fat right towards the end of your prep. And then you look at yourself like a few weeks down the line and you're thinking like, why did I even think that? But yeah, your mind plays games on you. Like it's one of those things you have to experience to know what I'm talking about, and bodybuilders will relate to this. But it's very rewarding. I can say that it's it's hard, but it's a very rewarding experience. So when I finished my last competition, when I finished the last comp for my season, it was like the most spiritual thing for me, almost, because from the moment I stepped on that stage, winning the British Ton figure with Fitex, I just felt different. I felt like, I owned this stage because I'd been on stage that many times. I just felt like, you know what, Carol, you're just going to go out and just enjoy this. And because the atmosphere was so laid back on that last show, I think I just relaxed through it. And this is something that I feel like a lot of people could pick up on as well. Sometimes when you're really uptight about things don't flow. You just don't get things going the way you want them to go because you're so uptight. You're putting so much pressure on yourself. You end up not performing to your best. But on this last one, I felt like I just let go, and I just thought, I'm just going to enjoy this because I've been on these stages for long enough now and for enough times now to feel like, I'm confident enough. I'm not cocky or anything. I'm not expecting miracles, but I'm just going to be the best I can be on that stage and feel every emotion that goes with it. And it was so good. It was so rewarding at the end of it. I can't tell you, I've never felt anything like it. Like walking out of that stage with the crown on my head and with all the applause and everything, it was magical. And you can see some people live for that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, bodybuilding is not something I think should be done for a long period of time, because it's hard on the body. And this is just my opinion. Everyone else is free to say or think as they do. But for me, I feel like it's not something to do for a very long period of time because your body can only take so much battering, and it does get battered through prep, and it's hard going. So, and you actually get to a point in prep when you just feel like, I'm just done. I'm done. I just want it done and over with. And almost like you feel like you want a detox. It's like, I just want to be normal again, whatever normal is. But the end result of it is absolutely phenomenally rewarding, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's like the best feeling, and to know that you've worked so hard and you're being rewarded for it at the end of it, it just is the icing on the cake, even though you're not allowed to eat cake before you go on stage. It is great. And so, I feel like today I needed to just cover that a bit more so that you get to see the other side of me through my comps and all the emotions that I went through and the feelings that I got as I went into these comps and the journey through it, the things that you can expect when it comes to the emotional side of it. And I hope this has been helpful or you've got some insight out of it. As ever, if you have any questions, you can always private message me or drop me a DM on my socials. If you want me to cover this a bit more, I can go into so much more details. What I don't want to do is to have really long sessions or episodes talking about the same things because it ends up being a bit repetitive. So if I can shorten them into like shorter sessions and just cover one thing after another in as much detail as I can without sending you to sleep, that would be good. But if you do want me to explain a bit more about things, I can always do another episode and push it in down the line. So I hope you have enjoyed this, and I really look forward to doing the next episode because I feel like I've got so much to talk about and not so much time. But I'll see you on the next episode, guys. Take care for now. Bye-bye. And just before you go, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel so you don't ever miss any upcoming episodes. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Carol West Coaching. Are you interested in coaching or joining our team as a client? We offer photo shoot, body transformations, as well as bodybuilding competition prep packages. The team at the Elevate Health and Body Transformation Program are ready and waiting to help you achieve and maintain your dream physique. Whether you're looking to step on stage or just want to do it for yourself, you can send us a DM and we'll get you on the road to achieving a lean and fit physique. Bye for now.